Today on Podcast Them Down, which Thanksgiving dish is the most metal?
Cast them down.
I'm Tim Regan from U.S. power metal band Burning Shadows, Dual-Violin folk metal band ISENMOR, Metallica tribute band Fade to Black, and true zombie metal recently vacated Graves. You're listening to Podcast Them Down, a heavy metal podcast. Thank you.
Nice. Good job, Doug. All right.
The timing was spectacular.
What?
I thought it was recording. I thought he pre-recorded that.
Yeah.
All right. We have a full house. So enter and sign in, everyone. Besides Doug. Doug already introduced himself as me. So.
Does that mean you're Doug?
Yeah, you have to introduce yourself now.
Hi, I'm Doug, metal sociologist, and objective metal raider. All right, how about Mike?
I'm Mike. I'm in some half of Tim's bands, and I'm not an objective raider. I'm a subjective raider.
All right, and Dave?
I'm in half of Tim's bands as well, although only overlapping by half with the ones that Mike is in. So do the math, metal fans.
All right, and last and least, Matt?
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm in none of the bands, but I listen to all of them because I'm a good guy, and I've attended 90% of the same Thanksgivings that Tim has.
Ooh. Claim to fame.
So this episode is brought to you by It's a Death Metal Xmas, specifically the album It's a Death Metal Thanksgiving. So it's a Death Metal Xmas.bandcamp.com. And
as always, steelresolve.com.
Yes, thank you.
Steelresolve.com.
Someone's got to plug Steel Resolve because I always forget to.
Coming soon to steelresolve.com, just in time for next Thanksgiving, is the Tom Turkey shirt, which I personally love.
We're all fans of it in Burning Shadows.
Great.
I have no idea if any of these are real products.
It's a great. It's part of the ever-growing Death Metal Xmas line on steelresolve.com.
Many of them are real.
Online, but okay.
Many of them are real products. All right, so. Oh, what the hell are we doing? Thanksgiving foods?
Thanksgiving.
All right.
Thanksgiving foods.
Should we start with an overview of the Thanksgiving story or the history of Thanksgiving? And
that's a good idea.
I think we should decide whether that's metal or not.
So should we have the first entry on this be Thanksgiving itself?
Yes. How about Thanksgiving history? Because do we do the gathering as well? Is that a separate idea?
Okay.
We have to differentiate between Canadian Thanksgiving and American Thanksgiving, even though they have the same origin stories, just different origins.
And secondly, we don't, because we all know that Canadian Thanksgiving is just a ripoff of an odious holiday that we're not going to talk about. But anyway, Thanksgiving is my favorite Virginia-themed holiday. So as we all remember, in 1619, the good people of the ship... What was the name of the ship here? Well, the ship Margaret, they arrived at Berkeley's 100 in Charles City County, Virginia. And the landing was momentous. You know, crossing the sea is very treacherous. So on December 4th, they made the great transatlantic crossing. They signed a charter. And they specifically wrote in their charter that the first thing they were going to do was have a religious celebration. And the charter declared that the day of our ship's arrival in the land of Virginia shall be yearly and perpetually kept holy as a day of thanksgiving to Almighty God, which is why ever since then we've celebrated the good people of Berkeley 100 crossing the sea. And that's why we have Thanksgiving.
I see nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, that's true. That's how Thanksgiving happened.
Is that metal or is it just
Well, I mean,
kind of neutral?
charters are pretty metal. I
Are
think,
they?
yeah, charters are definitely metal. Like, pens are made of metal frequently, and you have to write a charter with a pen.
Didn't they have feather pens in those days?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need like a charter for a book club, and I feel like a book club isn't very metal.
What if it was called the Metal Book Club?
I mean, it's still not very metal, even if it's
that's probably true.
I feel like you're waiting for someone to say, "What about the Pilgrims?"
Yeah, I was. I've been waiting for about 5 minutes of charter talk.
Well, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to do it.
What about the Pilgrims?
Okay, so like 2 years later, there are a bunch of assholes called the Pilgrims. Now, the first thing you're going to do is confuse them with the Puritans, but they weren't Puritan at all. They were just a different kind of English dissenter. And anyway, they went to Massachusetts, and they didn't know how to grow anything. But luckily, there was a horrible plague caused by the arrival of Europeans several decades before. And because of that horrible plague, they just ended up living on some land that a bunch of people died on. And they were like, hey, this looks like pretty good land, because it was someone else's village, and they all died, except one guy who was named Tisquantum, and he was kind of like a religious zealot. He's a crazy guy. He escaped the plague because, lucky him, he was a slave and was brought over to Europe and learned English and then was brought back. And then, long story short, there was a bunch of like political intrigue, and this one group was trying to use the Pilgrims against this other group, and it kind of worked until they killed them all. Blah, blah, blah. But there wasn't turkey, and there was probably about 40 Pilgrims and maybe 90 Wampanoag. They ate food. It was probably in September. The word Thanksgiving wasn't ever used there. So that happened too.
Was a treaty signed?
Well, funnily, there was. But you know what happened to that treaty is pretty soon, with the War of King Philip, that treaty went like that.
Well, there's
Ripping it
nothing
up.
more
Hey.
metal than signing treaties and breaking them.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep
Yeah.
going to the next one or no?
No. I guess if we think of Thanksgiving as a holiday of making shit up, like saying like we celebrate because of this, but then that never happened. I don't know.
I don't know.
Taking
Having a
credit.
completely false mythology is pretty metal.
That's pretty metal, yeah. Like actually, the more I think about it, like a mythologically based holiday that everyone fights about, which is the real original one. That's not the real original
That's pretty metal.
Thanksgiving. That's pretty metal. People, there was no like standard Thanksgiving until like the 1860s. And even then it wasn't a day off. It was like, go pray and go to work, you jerks. And then
It's not metal.
and then FDR changed it from the last Thursday in November to the 4th, and everyone got pissed. Because what if there's another Thursday? It's kind of a boring holiday.
All right. So how do you want to do the rating? I think we should just go yes, no.
You need to explain why you hate Canadian Thanksgiving.
Wait,
Oh.
I need to ask a question about the false mythology comment.
Okay.
All right. Just bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
So Varg from Burzum made his own tabletop RPG called My Farog or Me Farog or something like that. And if you look it up, it's horrible because it's clearly very racist. But if we're going on how metal, I mean, that's sort of a false mythology too. So is Varg's tabletop RPG metal? And how does it relate to the false mythology of Thanksgiving? Because I feel like if they're congruous in metalness, right?
No, I don't think it's a good equivalency because no one's treating Varg's game as fact. And
Although
Maybe Varg is.
Oh, okay.
I think you can make a pretty solid case that Thanksgiving is essentially a tabletop RPG. Right?
Yeah.
It's like LARPing and tabletop RPG. Yeah, there we go.
Just put some food in there. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
All right. So,
yeah,
do you want to go around and do a yes, no, or a yes, no, maybe, or what?
Yeah. Let's go around and we'll just vote and we'll surprise you on our ratings and rating system.
Okay.
Perfect. I think the history of Thanksgiving is metal for the aforementioned reasons.
So you said metal.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Listeners of our Star Trek rewatch know that we have the spreadsheet in front of us, and we are studiously going through it. So, all right, who's next? How about Dave?
Shouldn't this be a true false?
I thought we were going
Thing.
in spreadsheet order.
Oh, you're going with spreadsheet order?
Go, I don't care. Go, Matt.
I don't want to go last every time.
I'm going to give it metallic. Not quite metal, but close to metal.
I don't like this already because we are an objective rating system.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. That's true. So we should really reduce this to a binary. So 1 is metal.
There we go. And 0 is
Zero is non-metal, and then because it's not actually binary, I will give it a 0.9888, which is approximately metal, but not metal.
I find Matt's logic persuasive. I'll match his score. He did tell the story.
And Mike.
I guess I'm going to give it 0.5 LARPing Pilgrims. I think it's going to be my rating system.
0.5. Okay.
Yeah. Just because, there's, I guess, it's just a feeling. I don't really have a good explanation, but that's my feeling. It's just completely arbitrary.
I mean, that's the best way to have an objective ranking system.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just got to dress it up a bit, Mike.
Yeah.
Very true. So while I appreciate the logic of the scoring system, it really does kind of throw my score into confusion for the viewer. Because my answer is 2/3, which is now going to present as obviously the most metal of choices.
Shit.
I don't think so because
We're not converting fractions. Fine.
There you go. Because 2/3 he gave it a metal, right, which is 1. So your 2/3 is actually
I'm working in absolutes today.
It's the second least metal score.
Fair.
So
actually they hit 2 out of 3. But you know, I only go to 3 significant digits in my mind.
Luckily for you,
and you floor
Google
that
Sheets
list.
does not.
It'll be 667.
The neighbor of the beast.
That's right.
All right.
Toiki.
The classic centerpiece. I think it's pretty metal to behead an animal and rip out its guts and roast it in an inferno and then devour its carcass. And then stress all day about it. So I'm gonna dive in with a 1, and we have we have variations on turkey coming up. So this is just the idea of turkey. All right.
Okay. Turkey's a pretty metal bird. Yeah, as we all know, it's indigenous to the Americas, which makes it a special American bird. And just like Indians, it's called a turkey because some asshole thought they were in Turkey or from Turkey or something stupid like that. So that's fun. Most store-bought turkeys these days come with their neck shoved up their ass and a bag of innards. So
by the way, Yeah, go
Stop
ahead.
being such a turkey, Matt, and just score it.
That's just metal. I'm justifying my if it's above 0.8 and below 0.3, you have to justify it.
Well,
That's the rules.
the bag can be tricky to find, and
Yeah.
I may or may not have cooked the turkey with the bag inside. Still, made it all
Right, there's
taste nice and plasticky.
an element of danger, like naturally they evolved like a thermometer that pops up when it's done. I mean, it's a miracle of God's nature. I mean, it's just amazing and incredible.
A good point. By the way, if you follow that thermometer, it doesn't pop until it's way overcooked. So if you follow the rules, you know the result is crap, just like in real life.
Also metal.
Or Dave, did you say you did want to go last or not go last?
No, you know what? I'll go now. I'm gonna go with a 0.75. Turkey has a tendency to put you to sleep. Now reasonable minds can differ.
Sleep
on
is metal unless that's your band name.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Hence the deduction of 0.25. And also because I want to have somewhere to go when it comes to the variations.
Yeah, talk about being put to sleep.
Is that me or the Benadryl, Doug?
I like how Doug hates this.
I don't know. Killing animals, metal, 1. I look forward to when this turns into 10 after about 3 more rounds. When we
All right,
realize
Mike.
the Star Trek system just works better.
Mike, what do you
All
got?
right. I'm gonna give it a 1. Decaying roasted turkey. That's gonna be my unit of rating here.
Wait, what was Doug's number again? He disappeared.
1. It was 1.
1? Wow.
All right. So I hate turkey. Turkey tastes like garbage. It's super boring. And all of the aforementioned justifications of turkey make the fact that it's like the blandest thing ever that much more metal because it's pointless to even cook it at all. So you're just destroying a life for no reason. That's got to be
That's
pretty metal.
All right, for the next, since us and the chemicals are putting Doug to sleep, let's spice it up. Let's decide the most metal variation of turkey: smoked, roasted, or fried. You have to choose one.
Ooh.
Fried turkey is obviously the most metal because you can literally fucking die.
Not only can you fucking die, fried turkey is the one that's got the highest potential for a pyrotechnic display.
Hold on, I have a question. Does that mean if you give your 1, do the other ones get 0s?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh.
I'm still willing to commit to that fried turkey.
Fried turkey, you will die. There's lots of fires every year.
Well, look, if the turkey were suffering more or less with one of these cooking methods, that would change the score materially in that sense. But it's only the end user and their potential for harm and suffering that is a factor in how these are typically executed. So in that sense, it's fried as a 1. And I'm sorry, 0s across the board everywhere else.
Yeah, I mean it has to be fried. Like if you can end up like if you can end up like the guy on the receiving end of Rorschach's oil thing in The Watchmen, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I mean that's pretty metal. That's a pretty metal scene. So yeah, I think fried.
Okay, let's quickly do turkey.
Wait! I haven't gone yet, and
I thought you already agreed. All right, go ahead.
No, I did not, and I'm
It's gonna
afraid
be smoked, isn't it?
that consensus is not metal. So I'm going to evenly distribute.
I was
My
going to
points.
suggest that.
Okay.
No. Wait.
This is a mockery.
Consensus is metal because it dominates. It's a dominating factor. But
Only blind consensus.
Yeah, only blind
Yeah.
consensus.
No, even because then it's like oppressive. Like the government in 1984 is probably fairly metal. You know, like even reason consensus, I think, can be metal.
We have always been at war with posers.
I mean, but I would like to point out that my even distribution of stories both gives us the absolute result that already happened and makes us appear more reasonable, which
Oh.
itself seems pretty metal to me.
And it also
Okay,
needlessly complicates things, which
Which
in
is
and of
that's
itself
metal.
is-
Metal.
God damn.
All right.
Right.
All right.
I'm
This
sold
is
on Mike's
multifaceted.
argument. It's like, yeah, Mastodon, they are no longer posers.
It's called
Now
double
the
thinking
enemy
as
is
metal as fuck.
blank. Yeah.
All right. Let's hop over the gravy for a second because I want to do turkey alternatives.
Okay.
The main ones. By the way, this is all sourced from Wikipedia, and if you donate, like you're a sucker. Anyway,
I donate to Wikipedia.
well, you're a sucker. I need my there.
Are you one of them learned types, Matt?
Socialism isn't metal.
academic. I'm a professional academic. I use Wikipedia like a lot every day.
So do I. All right, maybe we'll cut that part out.
Or not.
Or not.
I
All
ain't
right.
no sucker and paying for it. It's free.
That's right. All right. So Wikipedia said goose, honey glazed ham, and turducken were the. I'm saving the meat alternatives. But
Okay.
out of those, which is the most metal? So I'm gonna have to go with turducken because
Yeah,
it's an
turducken.
animal inside an animal inside an animal.
A turducken is the most metal.
It's got some very sewn back together wrong vibes.
Yeah, it could basically be a Cannibal Corpse song.
And now,
So-
Yeah.
I actually think I'm going to give Turducken a 3 because it's 3 metal animals in one.
Ooh.
So,
Doug,
yeah.
that was an incredibly accurate prediction. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And so what, and everyone else gave it to the Turducken, yeah?
But I'm also going to give one to honey glazed ham because it's a very evocative image. And pigs are a smart animal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're
So you-
killing something that can
So,
feel.
you're giving 2 1s and a 0.
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, I would just like to say though that goose and ham are more traditionally Christmas. You know, I feel like this is the ongoing encroachment of Christmas into Thanksgiving, and that's why we can't put up with either ham or goose for Thanksgiving.
I do want to say I absolutely agree with goose being a 0 because geese are dicks. And I think geese themselves are metal in an alive state. So killing them,
Makes them unmetal.
yeah. Yeah, they attack people. I went to work once and they had fenced off a section of the parking lot because there was a goose. And if a creature can evoke that much terror in like security guards, that's metal.
So, have you guys ever actually had goose?
No,
I have. It's
I have
good.
not.
It's delicious.
I'm not a huge fan, but to each their own.
Is it too fatty? Is that
Yeah,
is
it was
fat.
a little oily, a little like I don't
Audio
know.
medium.
Sorry. Normally, gamey doesn't bother me, so I don't want to say it was gamey, but it was possibly that it was just like sliced too thick and it was just like too much meat.
Well,
I don't know.
I think, because prior to the discovery of the Americas and the turkey, I feel like all the poor saps in Europe were stuck eating goose.
Yes.
And then they said, thank Christ we found this other big bird that can feed 4 people or 8 people or however many people can eat a 17th century turkey. So, what are you going to eat? A pheasant, a guinea fowl? There's just not that many options.
Single grouse. I mean, you raise a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we all win. All right. Let's discuss tofurkey.
-1.
All right.
So the problem with tofurkey is I feel like this was their first serious attempt at a meat-free turkey alternative, and they blew it. And they used the technology they had at the time.
It's like the $6 million turkey. So we were just
Yeah,
they
pretty
could
much.
build it. They
mean,
could build the new turkey.
there's plenty of ways to have a meat-free Thanksgiving. I mean, look at the rest. Like every side, unless you add meat to it, is vegetarian. But someone somewhere goes, well, what the hell do they eat on Thanksgiving if they don't eat turkey? So they made this process log of crap, and it sucks. So I'm gonna call it not metal.
I'm actually going to give tofurkey metal. Number 1, you're insisting on something that not a lot of people like. You're requiring others to make compromises. You're usually having there's a lot of family tension when it appears. Like, oh, great, tofurkey, and also people who eat tofurkey are rabidly passionate about it. You're either all in or all out. And that, to me, sounds metal.
I would argue that the people who don't eat it are also passionate about it.
Yeah. Sometimes even more so.
It's transgressive. And as Tim points out, it takes a lot of work to end up with nothing, which describes a lot of metal.
All right.
I give it a 2 to counteract Mike's score.
All right, go.
I'm gonna argue that tofurkey is like the pit ninjas in a mosh pit, right? Like you go to a metal show, and whether or not you mosh, you're expecting some sort of moshing behavior, and then the pit ninjas come, and they're kicking everybody in the face, and the mosh pit disappears because nobody wants pit ninjas at the damn show except for the pit ninjas. So everybody disperses. So I think tofurkey is basically like the metalcore kid discovering Obituary. That's what it is. So I have to give. I stand by my -1. It's
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
It's so good.
So I put in a placeholder for more popular. I'm sorry, Dave.
Dave didn't.
Dave,
go.
you're sitting there dozing off.
Yeah, I'm exhausted listening to fake meat stories. I'm curious to know. I haven't seen any advertisement from Impossible Burger or Beyond whoever.
Beyond Turkey.
Well, yeah. See, well, I said alternative meat-free things, which is my placeholder because I assumed there was something like that.
Well, I haven't heard about any of it this year. Anyway, I'm giving tofurkey a 0 because the only tofu product you should be making into other fake things is into fake cheese.
Yo, I'm looking at pictures of tofurkey, and I'm glad I gave my score already, because if I had Googled image searched this before I talked, it would be a very different grade.
All right, so the entire rest of this is all sides. So how do you want to handle this?
Let's just go side by side.
Shut up.
Let's go for it.
But there's like,
wow.
There's 35 more lines.
All right, let's roll a dice to see how many rows we skip. There's got to be some like online random
random.org.
Yeah.
Dave, pull out your die 20.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor. Not a sponsor.
I think we should pick between 1 and 3 for how many rows we skip.
Okay, well,
So like
I was going to say...
we're basically aliasing the list here is what we're doing.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Let's do this.
All right.
So if we left out the dish you've been waiting for, write an angry email to Mike for his scheme, and maybe we'll cover it next year.
Okay, I rolled the dice between 1 and 3. I think 3 is the max we should do, and I got a 3. So we have to go 3.
That would be oyster dressing.
Okay, I don't know what the hell this is.
So does this mean
disgusting?
Well, hold on. Just to make the list objective, I think if you're skipped, you get an automatic quarter point. So every item that was skipped now gets a quarter point from everybody.
What?
And we will see if those skipped items actually score better than the other items.
Let's leave them blank though, because in case we get to the end of this, like say we get a bunch of bad rolls, and we just skip 3 every time, then maybe we could come back.
Oh, I mean, we can tell which ones they are because they're the ones that are all filled with 0.25s.
Fair enough. Okay, oyster. Okay, what is oyster dressing?
So I would give that a 0.25 on the metal scale for me personally.
Dave's complicating it.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a 0.25.
And you know, I actually agree that it's a 0.25. And luckily, because it's below 0.3, I don't have to justify it.
That's not how that works.
Well, that's not how that works. I do think, oyster stuffing is making something unnecessarily fancy. It's putting another animal inside an animal, which sounds metal. Like, look at the turducken scores. But I think, it's not that I could imagine a turkey eating an oyster in a way that I couldn't imagine a chicken eating a duck eating a turkey, or however that
other
worked.
way around.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a quarter metal.
If you did a turducken backwards, wouldn't the pressure be so great that when you cut into it, it would explode?
That would be a chick ducky, which sounds amazing, and I will be making this upcoming Thanksgiving.
Patent pending. Podcast them down. Buy your whatever you just called it. What was it?
Pending.
Chick ducky. Reserve your chick ducky for next year now.
On steelresolve.com.
That's right.
We have our best engineers figuring out how the fuck to do this. We've got a team.
All right. Well, are you done?
I'm done.
All right. Well, I wanted to make the distinction that stuffing is stuffed within the bird, whereas dressing is cooked on the stove outside of the bird. And this clearly says oyster dressing.
Oh,
So
dear.
it would get a 1, but since it's dressing and not stuffing, I mean, well, think about it too.
I got you.
If you jam a bunch of oysters inside a giant turkey, they're not going to cook right, increasing the likelihood of disease and misery for Black Friday. So anyway, it would have gotten a 1 if it was oyster stuffing, but since it's oyster dressing, I'm going to give it a 0.25.
All right.
All right, how many are we skipping, Mike?
Wait, Mike hasn't given his score yet.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. I just want to stop so bad. I'm done with this. That's why I'm skipping people.
Because I still don't know what oyster dressing is, I'm going to use my random number generator.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
I got a 0.5.
Wow.
Damn it. You blew it.
How amazing would it have been if it randomly generated a 0.25?
That would have been pretty good. Okay.
I'm
right.
The history of oyster dressing. Oyster dressing is a favorite of New Englanders and dates back to the 18th century in America, as oysters were predominantly found along the eastern coast of North
All right,
America.
if it's New Englanders who like it, make my score 0.
All right, that works out. That works out. So, source for that amazing paragraph was what'scookingamerica.net.
Also, I did read that paragraph, and it turns out you put oysters in the turkey because you're buying a shitty turkey, and it's a cheap source of protein. So I am deducting, or I'm multiplying my score by 100th, and it is now getting a 0.025.
Well, unlike you, I'm confident in my answer the first time I do it. By the way, the Minnesota Wild, I'm going to deduct another point.
Deduct a point. Well, let me go to that spreadsheet.
I got to give them back a point some other time, but they have to earn it. They do have to. Actually, no, I'll save that story for another time. All right, how many are we skipping, Mike?
1. So we just go to the next one.
Mashed potatoes. We're skipping one.
We skip
Well,
one.
I think
Or did you want to go to the next one?
I think we go to the next one because if we don't go to the next one, then we can never go to the next row.
Right. Okay. It's like Mario Party. You move one move, 2 moves, or 3 moves.
Yeah.
All right. So cornbread versus white bread
This is white
stuffing.
bread.
I don't.
Is this just a Wikipedia entry title?
Yeah. See, like I said, I did no prep. That's what I do.
Spinner again, Mike.
Why is this one a face-off?
Yeah, that's a good question.
No, that's okay. Let's just roll with it, man.
Yeah, let's go with it. I'm gonna give it a 1. I like conflict. Conflict is metal. Cornbread, white bread, neither which is very healthful. Also metal. And it's lazy and making the best of it, which is sometimes metal.
I'm gonna give it a 0 because shut the fuck up and eat your stuffing.
Give it a 1. For similar reasons as Matt, I do think cornbread is more Thanksgiving, and but it's also cornbread, which feels like it should be less Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I like the fact that both cornbread or white bread could be pretentious and yet very unpretentious simultaneously. So that's also metal.
Okay, so it's like the prog. So it's like prog bands.
it's like
Cornbread
the
is prog.
Train of Thought record by Dream Theater.
It's like we're so prog. This song is in 4/4 and it's just 16th notes.
Oof. See, I viewed this as a spectrum. Like -1 was, I don't know, white bread, and 1 is cornbread because I prefer cornbread.
Oh, so okay. So in
Mike's
your
playing by
mind-
his own rules, which is pretty metal.
Oh,
Yeah,
metal.
that's true. And then you could absolute value the score. That'll get you like the true value. And then
But we already have many negative numbers.
True Value is
That's
not a
true.
sponsor of Podcast Him Down yet.
No, that's exactly right. Mike thinks he's playing by his own rules, but he's actually in the box. Then we box it all in at the end.
Although upon further review, Mike's the only person who's given a negative score.
this is true. I guess I'll give it a 1 for the reason that I really like cornbread, but that's not a very metal reason.
So 1 is for cornbread.
1 is just for cornbread being awesome.
Okay, cool. Agree.
All right, I have a strong urge to move on, which means Dave's up.
Oh, 0.5.
0.5.
All right.
Woo.
Hey, up that die roller to 6. Let's
To
live
6.
dangerously.
Oh man! All right, hold up. Here we go.
It would be a
Well, shit, you got a 6.
Fuck
Wow. 1.
and then let's roll it again for 1 to 5, and then this is the person who answers.
There we go.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then that person's score is everybody's score.
I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Or
Okay,
or they
hold
they could make the assertion and have to defend it.
Whoa. Hold on. That's the person who answers for everyone.
Well, they get 5 points and get to assign the score as they get to make the decision for others, which is very metal.
So I could be like, Tim really likes celery.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Beautiful.
All right, so
All right. 1 to 5.
This is
3.
incredible.
So
3.
Doug.
So that's Doug. So Doug, you're commenting on celery.
For everybody. So you have to decide who likes celery the best.
By the way, it's not clear from Wikipedia if if it's like cooked celery or just raw celery, so use your instinct, I guess.
Well, celery is kind of pointless and disgusting, and
It's crunchy water is what it is, but I'm not allowed to comment.
So, as a vegetarian, a discerning vegetarian, I'm going to give it a 0.
Doug, for himself, gives it a 0.
And I think
I think we should be able to at least discuss it.
Yeah, we should try to influence his. I always appreciate that celery actually. This might be an urban myth, but I always enjoyed the fact that at least it has, because of its fiber content, it has negative calories. And I always wondered the dilemma of being stranded on a desert island with a big box of celery. And like, do you eat it? Because theoretically, wouldn't you die sooner? Because you're expending unnecessary calories.
That's probably a myth. But
all right, urban legends are pretty metal, so I'm going to give 2 points to Matt for that.
Right. Yeah. Woo!
I'm going to say celery is at least a little metal because you can like just rip it out of the ground and eat it. Right? You just kind of rinse off the dirt and you're just ready to go. And I feel like if you just pick something off the ground and just immediately ingest it, that's at least sort of kind of metal. I mean, not a lot metal.
Yeah, primitive origins. All right, so let's give Mike 0.75.
Got it?
That's about right. Yeah,
I'm surprised no one has said that it's a vehicle for dip. That's its best use.
Give Tim 2 points.
All right, boom.
And then the difference between that and 5 is Dave.
There we go. So
0.25.
my classic score, bringing it home.
Incredibly, celery is now the most metal food.
Everything is guaranteed to be 1 now.
It's a good thing our process is objective.
Okay.
All right, roll that dice.
6.
6.
6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6.
6.
And Tim, you're up.
Oh, fuck. I wasn't paying attention. What do we do?
All right, cauliflower.
Oh,
Cauliflower.
the cauliflower.
I mean, it kind of looks.
Man,
it looks
I don't
want to
have to rate everyone's thing.
It looks like a disease.
It looks kind of like a
disease.
brain. Yeah.
Oh,
It looked. If it was on your body, you would go to the dermatologist immediately. And that's, there's some metallicness to that.
here's my thing about cauliflower. Cauliflower, they want to use it for everything. They're like, oh, if you roast it and then toss it in hot sauce, it's pretty much wings. No, it's not. It's roasted cauliflower with sauce on it.
They're trying to make it into pizza.
Yeah.
bullshit.
This cauliflower's rice now. Cauliflower is the poser of vegetables. It wants to be everything, but it's nothing. It's not even broccoli. So therefore, I'm going to give it a 0. However, but I have to do everyone else. So
Yep.
Doug, I bet, loves cauliflower because he probably figured out a good way to prepare it. And that is most likely some sort of fried preparation and or dipping sauce and or butter.
Unless it's in the microwave, I don't prepare shit. And cauliflower is just like white broccoli to me, except unedible.
Ooh, I'm gonna amend my score to for Doug to a 0.1. All right, so
Okay.
anyone else have anything to say about it so I can assign you your score?
Man, when cauliflower is treated like cauliflower, that's when it really shines.
Yeah.
And that's the advice that I want to give to everybody is if you're tempted to do something wild and outrageous with cauliflower, don't go classic.
And that's how it is for metal. Just be your true,
Just
true
be true to
cults.
who.
Yeah.
Authentic.
You don't need to make a cauliflower crust pizza. You don't have the oven for that at home. You don't have the experience in alternative flours.
Cauliflower is not
Roast
rice.
that shit up and puree it with some garlic and lemon and thyme.
Ooh.
Man,
All right, I like
Get your-
Dave's insistence on traditionalism. That's pretty metal, so I'm going to give you a 1.11, and you can multiply that by 6 if you feel like it. And then Mike, Mike, you were the first one to say true cavalt, so I'll give you a 0.666 on it. So Matt, what to do about you?
I mean, I don't dislike cauliflower.
Ooh, double negative. Can you do better though?
I don't not dislike cauliflower.
So you do like it. I find your answer very confusing. So I'll give you a confusing score, and that's going to be, let's see, E divided by pi.
Are you going to enter that into the spreadsheet?
Yeah.
E over.
Oh, I didn't like that. I'll figure it out. Move along.
All right, we got 1, so we move on to corn. All right, and let's see.
Corn.
3. It's Doug again.
Well, corn is destroying the world. That's pretty metal.
Yeah, that's true.
We think burning it makes sense. That's pretty metal too. Nothing like burning food.
All right, I got E divided by pi in there.
Okay, I mean, with corn,
Pretty good score.
you get a corn off the stalk, and you like deglove it, and I think degloving is pretty metal. Like if you degloved your hand, and then you rip the individual corn kernels off of the stalk, so you're basically disemboweling. So you deglove, disembowel, and then put fire, and you have popcorn.
No, you
Man.
glove to be metal. Degloving is what you do when metal's over.
No, but that's like it's the Cannibal Corpse method when you're degloving your hand.
Yeah, no.
I'm talking
Matt
about
is
skin.
Matt is thinking of Judas Priest, Rob Halford
Yeah.
putting metal gloves on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike is thinking of death metal where your skin gets ripped off.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
It was
how
just
that's
metal. It's pretty metal.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, corn is degloving, disemboweling, and then incinerating. That's metal. It's got to be.
Yeah, man, and the preparation alone, even before you get to the geopolitical implications and economic ones.
And corn kernels are seeds, so you're technically eating a bowl of babies.
Ooh.
And those babies are metal as fuck because they survive within you and make it out mostly unscathed.
Oh, that's man, yeah.
Yeah, corn is pretty fucking.
It's like a
metal.
big fuck you to the digestive system.
Holy shit. Corn is amazing.
All right. All right. Mike gets 2 points. Me, Matt, and Tim each get 1, and about a points for Dave, so he gives it a 0.
Okay.
We might have to have a tiebreaker round between corn and celery.
Okay. 3.
3. 1,
And Tim.
3.
Shit,
All
E
right.
again. Is
Yeah.
that sauerkraut or collard greens?
collard greens.
Collard greens.
So, collard greens. I mean, that's one of those things that's amazing if you make it right and horrible if you don't make it right. So
Like
there's
metal.
Yeah,
Pretty
so
metal.
there's an amount of technical proficiency involved.
Ooh.
And it's cheap as fuck, and I like that.
So collard greens is tech death.
There you go. Perfect. Collard greens is tech death. And because Mike said that, I'm going to give him a 2.
All right.
So, yeah, clearly this is a southern variation. You know, so I'm thinking it's like Southern tech death. You know,
Southern.
Southern.
I
There's a
think
lot of
both
good.
Dave and I claim
Slytherin
Southern
tech
roots.
Southern.
There's a lot of good metal from the South. You know, because it's too hot there to do anything else. So.
Yeah, I'll claim those Southern roots. I had plenty of North Carolina and Virginia influenced Thanksgivings.
Ooh.
Tim,
Well, when you
do
say
wanna say
Southern
you're right.
roots, I think of Sepultura, which is way south. So I think you missed the collard greens belt.
yes.
Now Greens Belt or Greenbelt is south
Greenbelt.
of Baltimore.
Good
So
segue.
It is.
just to tie it back to that. All right. So
And Doug likes it because it's a planned community.
Can I clarify something? Are we basically Jeff Goldbluming our way to a score for each of these at this point?
I am.
We're being objective, Mike.
I'm objectively doing it.
Sometimes, Mike, during the course of a podcast, you realize that it becomes difficult to grade the subject in terms of metalness. And I think that's what we're seeing tonight.
I think this is going great.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
All right. So for Tim, Matt, Doug, and Dave in order, it's going to be 0.5. No, 1. 1 again for Matt. For Doug, it's going to be a 1. And for Dave, North Carolina, it's going to be a 1.
So collard greens is now the
Grand
most
total of
metal
6
thing.
points. I like it.
Wow.
I'm deducting a point from Mike for pointing that out.
Oh no! Now it's. Oh no! Now it's a 3-way tie. I would also
It
like to point
was
out-
in the past. So, roll them dice.
roll them dice.
All right, I rolled it twice because I got tired of it being 6, so now it's 2.
1, 2.
Oh,
we
this is a
already
good
did-
one. This is a good one.
Okay.
This is a good one.
All right. And it is going to. Tim, do you want it again or should I roll again?
I will. I'll let you roll it again, and if it comes up on me again, I'll take it.
Oh, it's me.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, rolls, biscuits. Okay, so rolls.
No, but we're on green
Yeah,
bean casserole.
Oh, green bean
Yeah,
casserole.
he filled it in.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right, brother.
Oh, yes. Okay, green bean casserole. All right. Green beans, I don't feel like they're particularly metal. But casserole, I mean, what's in a green bean casserole? You got like onions.
Well, you have
beans.
cream of mushroom soup. So the original recipe was a shameless marketing scheme to sell more soup. So it is blatant capitalism is what this is.
So is that metal? I feel like metal is more about like having zero money and still doing it anyway.
Unknowing blatant capitalism is metal.
Like, yeah, stumbling into the capitalism is metal, but not just kind of setting it out there. So it's not sounding too metal as it is.
Or hypocritical capital. Like if you're Dave Mustang and you're a teetotaler, but you have a winery, that's pretty metal.
Yeah, but, like, another thing is that like green bean casserole isn't authentic. It's not just green beans. It's trying to hide. It's mishmashing a bunch of genres. It might be like there might be some dubstep in there. There might be some metalcore influence, which is not metal at all. So I'm thinking that this is going to be a pretty low metal score. So for me, I'm going to have to give it a 0.
Oh.
But I'd like to hear some other thoughts and opinions on this.
I'm allergic to it, and I've never had it.
So Dave gets a negative 0.1.
Cool.
Negative 0.1.
Yes.
I think it's a big bowl of okay.
That sounds like a 0.25 to me.
Okay. Just as good as being skipped.
So, all right, well, is that your assertion on?
No. I'm just saying a negative. I mean, a positive 0.25 is the default score that we give the skipped item. So,
Yeah, okay, I gotcha. All right, Matt, Doug, what are your thoughts on green bean casserole?
I'll defer to Doug myself.
It's all on you, Doug. You can rescue. You can rescue green bean casserole, or you can condemn it.
Into the fire.
Into the fire. -1.
Doug's
for
gonna
both
burn his
Matt
casserole.
and Doug. Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to display my red challenge card here,
Ooh.
and that is because
What?
green
What?
bean casserole is amazing. Green bean casserole, as we've already mentioned, is a crass commercialism. People have very strong opinions. Most people dislike its presence, and yet it has a few hardcore survivors. And so I'm using the privilege of my red challenge card to give it a standard 6.66 as my score.
Ooh. So now this is the most metal thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, at least we
Okay.
broke the
And
tie.
what's that?
At least we broke the tie.
Yeah. And I really liked the bucking of the rules.
And it's
Yeah.
also good that we've gotten the red challenge card off the table now.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so because of the bucking of the rules, I'd like to change Dave's score to a positive 0.1.
I still can't support that.
excellent.
Yeah, taking advantage of privilege in a unknowing way is very metal.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
metal.
All right. We got 2.
2. Oh, actually, unfortunately, automatically, we don't even need to roll the player dice because this one automatically goes to Dave.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So, Lefse, I have never had a Norwegian Thanksgiving. So, I'm not really sure what to say about this. Lefse is another one of those ancestral foods that are forever shut off to me because all it is potato flour and cream and sugar made into a pancake and then filled with some sort of jam or other sweet filling. But given as how it's Norwegian, I'm gonna have to give it a solid 1 for everybody across the board.
Everybody gets a 1.
Everyone gets a 1.
Everyone gets a 1 except for Matt, who gets a 6.66.
Holy
Whoa.
shit.
Whoa.
Wow.
Because not
So-
only is this a time-honored traditional Norwegian food, and I think we all know about the deep connections that the Norwegian community in America has to Thanksgiving. I mean, it doesn't even need to be explained. It's so self-explanatory.
Well, I mean, the first
Yeah, exactly.
half of settlement was done by Norwegians at some
Yeah.
point.
I'm going to give Dave's score, I'm going to boost it by 3 points because the way he recast his grievance, his altruism.
Wow.
Thank
Wow.
you.
This is
That's an impressive score there.
yeah. This is gonna be hard to beat.
All right, roll that dice.
We got a 1. Oh, Tim.
Just to back up this Lefse thing, I mean, true Norwegian cult food during the most American of traditions. That is pretty metal.
Yeah.
All right, Tim gets 2 more points.
Shit.
Wow. That's a spicy flatbread.
You rolled a
Except
1?
it's not.
So,
I imagine it's quite bland.
so
Well, you
we're
never
on-
know.
We're on mac and cheese then?
And
Mac
Matt.
and cheese.
And
Matt,
Matt.
to you.
Oh. Well, I can tell you, as someone who's eaten mac and cheese for Thanksgiving, not in any of the ones in our family, but in other families, because I'm a multiple Thanksgiving kind of guy. Mac and cheese.
Wait. How come I haven't been invited to these other Thanksgivings?
I mean, I'm sure you go to Thanksgivings I'm not invited to.
That's for me to know.
Yeah. Anyway,
you put it out there, man. It's
You know what? I don't want to go to your other Thanksgivings.
well, you're missing out because there's mac and cheese there, and mac and cheese is actually one of the greatest position players for Thanksgiving. It's carby, it's savory. There's lots of gooey cheese. It actually pairs really well with stuffing, with turkey. If you get, I don't want to tip my hand to a future roll, but if you have some sweet potatoes, it goes well with that. It's a solid one. It's metal as fuck.
It's like Steve DiGiorgio in any band. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's there. He's making it more awesome. He's playing crazy shit.
But I think
Go
we've
ahead.
established that Tim gets a 0 here.
No, actually, because there's nothing more metal than envy. So I'm giving him the 6.66. And Doug, I liked your just saying what was on your mind. That was pretty metal. So that's a 3.33. Dave, for giving me the idea of just blowing out the score system, you get a 5. And Mike, because Mike's enjoying it the most, he gets an 11.
Oh, I love mac and cheese, so that's perfect. That's a perfect rating for me.
And I love having such a high rating from me, mac and cheeseless man. I had my first Dia mac and cheese with a Z. And I just want to briefly mention, not sponsored by Dia.
What's
Yeah.
Dia, Dave?
It's a vegan cheese company or whatever.
Ooh.
At any rate,
Dave's vegan. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he went this long without mentioning how vegan you are.
Look,
He's danced
can we-
around it, which I enjoyed.
Can we talk some more about fish, please? No, literally, and let me just take this brief segue. My sister informed me that I'm a genetic freak. Apparently, she had a genetic test done and tells me that she's a carrier for or has a, I don't know the technical terms, but for this gene mutation that cannot process certain proteins in types of milk. And apparently they were reading this diagnosis to her and they're like, oh, well, that's David right there. I'm not vegan. I eat meat. I'm just a freak who can't handle the proteins in milk.
Oh,
It's a tragedy.
Yeah, and he won't shut up about it either.
However, that explanation, not being able to.
Can we put Dave
something?
on the menu and then make him very metal?
Oh yeah. Let's put him under fish stomach soup.
Oh yeah.
Don't read
Don't
ahead.
worry.
Oh,
Don't
sorry.
worry.
All right. We got a 5 next.
That's
1,
what I'm
2,
talking
3,
about.
4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow,
Ooh.
that's a position player too.
And 3, Doug.
What, sweet potato pie?
That's
Sweet
right.
potato pie.
I mean, I feel like this isn't particularly metal.
Well,
Is it metal?
there is cultural division involved because it gained popularity because sweet potatoes were primarily consumed in the North, and no good Southern man during a certain rough period in the American history would consume Northern products. So, sorry, pumpkins are from the North. So, sweet potato pie grew popular in the South because pumpkins up north. Think Ichabod Crane, Headless Horseman, Jack of the Lanterns.
This
and
is
so on.
challenging because I hate sweet
man.
potatoes. They're kind of disappointing how stringy they are. I much prefer pumpkin, but my southern grievances are kicking in too with this new information that I'm not going to validate at all, but will allow to impact me emotionally as I come up with an objective score.
The lost cause of sweet potatoes.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm going to dig in, and It gets a 3 across the board for all of us.
All right.
Those Northerners could, New Englanders, Warhawks.
It's moved into the top 3, just edged out by Lefse.
I'm still mad at what Sherman did to our beautiful land.
We got 5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kapot blah.
Oh,
Fish
boy.
stomach soup.
All right. This is a good way to close it out.
Matt, it's you.
Yes. All right. So, among other Thanksgivings I've been to, some of them serve this great fish stomach soup. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds gross. Well, don't worry. It's not really the stomach. It's the swim bladder. Swim bladder.
That
not
makes
a
it much
stomach.
better.
You know, I'm going to be honest, it's not my favorite soup, but it does evoke Thanksgiving for me.
What is your favorite soup?
It's nakapapla, I'll tell you that. But I will give it a solid 0.8. I like the idea of consuming swim bladders. And, you know, fish are underrepresented at our Thanksgiving table, even though fish were very common at both the real first Thanksgiving in the Berkeley 100 and the fake one up in Plymouth Plantation. I
think the closest we got was the oyster thing.
Yeah.
I think fish are pretty gross. I don't really like fish. I've tried. But that's pretty metal, right? Like it being disgusting and vile and
it's not just fish. Like a lot of people have fish issues, but this is like specifically in your face.
Why didn't you say fissues? Come on.
I was thinking the same thing.
All right, I'm gonna have to give Tim a -1 for pointing out my flaws.
Question.
Uh-huh.
Where does fish stomach soup come from?
Well, it's actually Chinese. This particular one is in Thailand, but it's pretty common in Southeast Asia. And for your inquisitiveness, I'm gonna have Dave give it a 5.
I like
and because one of my favorite things Doug does is say, "I like that logic." He's gonna also give it a 5, but then I'm gonna give Doug the triplicator bonus, and he's going to give it a 15.
I like that logic.
All right. Since there's only one more to go, which is Dave.
All right.
As the Thanksgiving
That's
food.
what it says, yeah. I think this should be a free vote, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think so too. So I'd like to start by saying, you know, the idea of consuming Dave for Thanksgiving, for one. I mean, that's zombie, metal.
I was going to request clarification, but so is Dave metal? Is Dave at Thanksgiving metal, or is it Dave for Thanksgiving metal?
Yeah, no, this is the metalness of Dave as a Thanksgiving food.
Yes.
Well, I think Dave would be very difficult to cook because you'd have to cut him up into oven-sized pieces.
Yeah, which is
inconvenient.
Yeah, but that's metal, like doing something difficult, doing something technically challenging, which is serving a number of people, a human.
Yeah.
You have to make sure everything's done on time. You don't want it to be overdone.
To serve man.
As a vegan, Dave is probably free from a lot of the antibiotics that make meat tough and stringy.
No, that's simply my position as an anti-vaxxer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There we go.
I was going to say, Dave is the consumption of him wouldn't, unless they burn away, we'd get some psychoactive substances.
Hey, what are you trying to imply? When is this meal happening?
I mean, I'm thinking everybody should give Dave a 25.
I think you're absolutely right.
No, you don't tell me what to do, Mike. I'm gonna go 24 and a half.
4.5. All right.
Oh, man.
All right, are we done?
Well, Dave, what are your thoughts on you?
Yeah,
being
I
the
guess
Thanksgiving
Dave didn't
side?
give a score for eating him, which
No,
he
this
might
is
think is
fine.
less metal.
Yeah, maybe. But here's the thing. If this was the way for me to have to go, consumed by my friends and family at a Thanksgiving feast, I would like to at least think that you would do the right thing and do a full-on human roast in the backyard. That way you don't
Like
have to worry about
spit
Ooh.
with an apple in your mouth.
I need to
Precisely.
combine this with an earlier topic. Deep fried Dave. You need a giant fucking vat of oil.
You need Moe's Sizzlax.
actually.
The fryer.
Yeah, the industrial fryer from the aircraft carrier.
So I'm thinking about that. I'm also thinking about brewing equipment. I feel like if you got a decent sized Blickman brew kettle, you could fit a human in there.
Plus
With
all
plenty of oil.
the fire you'll need to bring it up to temp.
What about Turdaven?
David.
Are we
Dave
talking
would
about-
definitely be
wait,
beer battered for sure.
wait, are you talking? Wait, Dave, are you talking about like a brazen bull, like with like putting you in a
No, like
No,
Hawaiian spit, or not Hawaiian spit. Excuse me. The luau is buried in the ground, but yes, your traditional like cannibal ties the guy
Yeah,
in the far side. You know,
traditional.
Yeah,
What?
like your traditional Far Side cartoon cannibalism.
What
Right.
type of apple would you like in your mouth? Because I'd go with Honeycrisp if it were me.
Yeah, I think you got to go with Honeycrisp.
Choose carefully. This could affect the
Spencerville Red.
score.
Nice.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep, Dave wins.
That's correct. That is the correct answer.
Wow.
someday I'll be wealthy enough to buy land in my ancestral ville of Spencer.
All right. So, is there anything else we'd like to add, like a lightning round?
Well, I don't think Dave actually gave his score of being eaten, just to be a completist.
Oh yeah.
I'll stick with 25. I like that.
All right.
I like that logic, to borrow a phrase.
Wow.
All right.
Should we read off the top 10?
I was going to read off the top 13. But first,
Okay, yeah.
But first, did we want to do what everyone's thankful for? Because I can start. I'm thankful that the listener got this far somehow and is going to go to itsadeathmetalxmas.bandcamp.com and grab It's a Death Metal Thanksgiving, featuring 2 Thanksgiving songs. There are 2. And one of them is Jingle Bells. All right,
Wait a second.
Go ahead.
I'm thankful for the high quality, affordable merchandise available on steelresolve.com. Steelresolve.com.
SteelResolve.com, you say.
I'm thankful for Doug for not letting us forget about all the quality merchandise and potential holiday deals that can be found at steelresolve.com. You know, there might be a supply chain issue elsewhere, but there's never a supply chain problem at steelresolve.com.
Yeah, and I want to kind of piggyback on what Matt's grateful for. I am grateful for the unending supply of metal that you can find on steelresolve.com. They've got all of your crucial merch, plenty of potential holiday deals, reviews left and right. It's an unending stream. steelresolve.com.
So I guess I'll go off promotion, and I'm going to be continually thankful that the band Sleep is still broken up.
Oh, I am also personally thankful for the people who put Mike's jaw back together.
Oh yeah, I'm actually pretty thankful for that.
And the person who put his arm back together. Different people.
I'm like a whole person again.
He's like a living turducken.
Yeah, for now. But we're not cooking him. We're cooking Dave.
Dave, yeah.
That's right, folks. And just as a parting thought, if you wanted to fit me into a sauna and smoke me, I would also accept that manner of preparation.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. We can maybe go to Winter Sun's studio,
Oh, yeah.
and we can go to the sun.
Go in the sauna, get nice and moist.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
is steam brining a thing? Because it's good to brine your meat before you're gonna eat it. So, all right.
This is a weird episode.
We'll be
What are you
discussing
talking
those
about?
topics and more next week.
All right, so top 11, just to take us out, top 11. I know I said 13 earlier, but, you know, I do what I want.
Yeah,
you
fuck
don't tell
the
me what to do.
rules.
Top 11 with a score of 0.95 on our scoring of 0 to 1 is turkey, preferably fried turkey. And then number 10, collard greens with a score of 1, tied with corn and celery. Then with a score of 1.202, we have green bean casserole. Then with in the 6th position, we have turducken with a score of 1.4. Then above that, we have sweet potato pie with a score of 3. Then lefse, which is lower in the ranking than I expected, at number 4 with a 3.132. Then the classic fish stomach soup in number 3 with a score of 4.16. Then mac and cheese in number 2 with a 5.398. And your number 1 Thanksgiving food is Dave with an amazing score of 24.9. Thanks for listening.
I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank all my producers.
Like and subscribe and all that shit.
DimResolve.com.
All right. I need to bring up something that's been on my mind. It has nothing to do with anything that we've been talking about at all.
I mean, for the past 40 minutes, that's eating Dave. So
Yeah. Okay. So I went. I had an ice cream craving tonight, so I went out to get ice cream from the supermarket because I couldn't go to the place I wanted to go to. So I was relegated to the freezer section. It was a terrible travesty. But I was reminded when I was there. Have you guys ever had Halo Top ice cream?
No.
Yes.
no.
Okay, Halo Top ice cream. is
Wait,
some
Dave,
hot
no, you
fucking
haven't.
garbage.
You're vegan.
No,
They make a dairy-free version.
Yeah. Okay. Halo Top ice cream is like a lie. I saw some. There's some fucking. There's a
I've
story
seen-
on Sunday morning where they're like, "Oh, Halo Top! Everybody's demanding Halo Top." And if you eat Halo Top, it's like eating vaguely ice cream flavored sheets of paper, right? Like you just kind of like scrape it out of the carton. I don't know. It's supposed to be like, oh, it's like 100 calories.
Like they managed to
pint.
low calorize it by removing the fat so it doesn't turn creamy like it's supposed to, and it's like eating light ice cream flavored air.
Like don't fucking lie to yourself. If you're gonna get ice cream, like unless you need to, which I understand Dave needs to, but like if you don't need to do it, don't taunt yourself. Don't like.
Oh no, that's just a Halo Top thing. Mike, I challenge you to eat a Ben and Jerry's dairy version alongside its non-dairy version and say that the richness, if not necessarily the flavor and quality of the non-dairy one is comparable. Like there's good non-dairy ice cream out there.
I
It's just
believe
that
it.
Halo Top is not it.
Yeah, it's just,
And I think across the board it may just not be very.
if
100% agree.
if you're gonna get something high calorie and then try to make it healthy, you're just lying to yourself. You're just taunting yourself. It's bullshit. Like just do it up. You're gonna get ice cream. Eat ice cream in as unhealthy a format as you can manage. The end. That's my
All right,
stupid
so
story.
I guess Mike threw the gauntlet down to Halo Top,
yeah,
who
Yeah,
will
Halo
never
Top,
be a
I hate
sponsor
you.
because I'm leaving all this in.
Oh man, this is another weird Mike Easter egg.
But on the plus side, we might be able to attract some Ben and Jerry's sponsorship because they make the finest non-dairy ice cream by a major corporation that I've ever had the pleasure of eating.
So-
All right,
so-
everyone
so
tag
long-
Ben and Jerry's.
So, Ben and Jerry's, so long as you don't mind endorsing an episode where we just talked about eating one of the members of the podcast.
Well,
You're
do
welcome.
you think Dave
Hey,
would
I'm-
make a
I'm-
good ice cream flavor? Because I do. It could be a knockoff of fish food. It all works. It all works.
Oh my god!
It all works.
Yo, they finally made a non-dairy version of fish food. I have to be honest.
Oh,
I
Dave
didn't
is
really-
sized.
Oh my
I was
god!
I was very
Dave is-
excited.
Butt sized.